보여 넌 날 빛나게 해
Okay, good morning, Father. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing? Good.
So today we will just conduct a short interview if that's okay with you.
Of course, I'll be super happy.
Can you give us a brief description of yourself, like your name, your job, and what you do for LaSalle?
Okay, so my name is Father Alejandro Mijangos, and I am the university chaplain at the De La Salle Manila campus. I conduct masses, hear confessions, help out with spiritual directions, and in general, I am the one that accompanies spiritually and pastorally the students and staff of the university so that they can grow in love for the Lord and so that also they can journey as Christians, as disciples of the Lord in a better way.
So, how do you define a Zealous Thessalian, and would you consider yourself as one?
So Zeal is interesting because it's very similar to what people call drive or what people call passion. So basically, it's similar in as much as it allows a person to be moved with a motivation that comes from within inside and allows a person to transcend oneself and to be pushed into doing things that may seem very hard or very difficult or sometimes even impossible. But there is a difference because zeal, as opposed to drive or passion, has a connotation that is always, let's say, religious, or it has spiritual or high ideal motivation. So let me summarize with all this. Zeal is the inner motivation, inner force that comes from a motivation that is very strong, and it has to be probably of the spiritual nature. That's why we say like some people are religious zealous, or that's why we say that people that have some convictions that are maybe in politics or in an advocacy, they are very zealous because they have a drive that is very deep within inside. Now, I consider myself a person that has zeal. I would say so, right? I would say so. But as I'm saying that I would say so, I always ask the Lord to give me a greater motivation so that zeal might be stronger. Because I believe that with certain virtues like zeal for service or with love, there is not I am there already. There is always like a room for growing and moving forward and advancing, right?
What does zeal for service personally mean to you, and how do you inspire that same passion for service, for serving others, among students on campus?
For me, zeal for service becomes availability, meaning being ready to serve and being approachable and being a person that is able to be that there is no obstacles for the students who are the people that I am serving now. That there is no obstacles so that they can actually get to me, because it's not to me as Father Alejandro, but it's to what I represent or what I'm bringing them to. So service becomes for me availability. I actually have like, and I'm sorry about this, but I have like several principles. Like I know that I have to be approachable, amicable, available, accessible, right? So basically, it's a person that you have to be able to be there, right? That's the zeal for service.
Hello, so in what ways do you think your service has made a difference to the people or community you help?
Okay, so in what way? I really believe that any kind of service, so long as it's generous and it's actually towards others, as it's not self gain, because that's no service. Any kind of like service, even if it's just but little, it matters. Like the way I like to think is that every act of generosity and service to others is like a drop of water in the ocean. I mean, it's not much. Like think about a drop of water in the ocean, but the ocean actually changes whether that drop of water falls or not, right? So it does matter, right? So sometimes you do really big things of service, and sometimes not. Like with the students, that's the place where I am supposed to be serving more than anywhere else. Sometimes you do see lives that are very touched by the way you are there as a priest. That's my answer.
My question is, what would you advise for those just starting their mission to serve others?
I would advise three things. First, not to be afraid, because sometimes I believe that people are stopped from actually doing good, in this case for being of service to others, because they are afraid that they are going to not be perfect in the way they serve, or because they are afraid of the obstacles. So do not be afraid, right? If it's service and it comes really from zeal and it helps a motivation that is deep, just do it. Second thing that is very related actually has to do with the virtue of generosity, which means service by its own nature is towards others. So just be generous, just go for it. And third thing is commit yourself to something, to an advocacy, to a call, to a mission, but make sure that commitment towards something is toward others, not just commit to yourself only. Right?